Today we're going to be working on Leetcode question number 207, course schedule. There are a total of numCourses courses with the name variable with the variable name numCourses. You have to take labeled from 0 to numCourses -1. So we have basically basically one less than the number of courses, 0 to 1 less than the number of courses. You are given an array prerequisites where the prerequisites are gonna be given in the form of an array, and the first one AI is gonna be the course, and the BI is gonna be the prerequisite of that. So if you have been given 0 1, that means 0 is the course and it is dependent on 1. So we need to return true if we can finish all the courses, basically if there is no loop inside the prerequisites requirement. So we're gonna do it with the def first search, which basically means is that we're basically looking for a loop inside it. That is there any prerequisite which ends up in a loop. So for this we're gonna be using a graph. We're gonna and also an array which is gonna tell us that whether or not we have visited that course or not. So the graph is gonna be initialized. So graph is basically dependency graph. So it is, we have a total of empty lists or arrays for an x range of the total number of courses, which is num courses. So this is our we're gonna initialize the graph like that, and there's another list which or an array which is gonna be a visit. Basically we're gonna initialize it with 0, meaning that we have not visited this course yet. So similarly for x and for everything inside x range num courses. So once we have the graph and the visit, basically we're gonna say that go through all the prerequisites for x, y in prerequisites. So once we have the x, y in every single prerequisite, we're gonna we're gonna create the graph. The graph is gonna be for that particular course x, append the dependency, which is y. So once we have that graph set up, all we have to do is for I inside the x range of the number of courses. So we're gonna go through all the courses. We're gonna say that if not in DFS of I, if not DFS, like if this function which we're gonna create in a moment, if that is returning like a false, if not, then we're gonna return false. If none of them return false and we are end of this loop, we're gonna return true. Now the last thing we need to do is to create this function DFS of I. It's gonna take a course number, then it's gonna say that whether this like that particular course we have already visited it. So if we have, so we have three things: either -1, which is gonna mean that we are visiting it, and if we see that, we're gonna return false. Okay, if and there is one that we have already visited it. So one is -1 means we are visiting it, and if we are visiting it and we see it again, that means there is a loop. We're gonna return false. If we have already visited it, the whole course, then we're gonna return true. And if it is 0, we yeah we're just working on it. If visit of that I is equal to -1, return false. If visit of that I is equal to 1, is equal to 1, return true. Okay, now the visit of I, because we are working on it, we're gonna make it -1, right? And then while we are working on it, we have to go through all the dependencies for j in the graph of I. If not, dfs, just like that one. While we are working on the list of all the prerequisites, we're gonna say if not in dfs of j, we're gonna return false. And if we are out of this one, we're gonna set visit of I equal to 1, and we're gonna return true. We initialize it to 0, and then in this loop basically we're going through all the prerequisites of a course, and then if the DFS of that one, that particular course is returning false, just like we do it at the end, and we're gonna return false. Otherwise we're setting it to 1, and then we're uh, returning it true. We set it to -1 only when we are working on it. Looking good. Yep, and it works.